All right, just took the beast out. Had to go get it inspected so I can get it registered. And I still got an oil change to do on it. Just look it over, make sure nothing's wrong with it. Maybe kind of clean up the engine bay just a little bit. You know, do a detail on it. And then I'm going to put it up. The only thing I can tell somebody that might need is these tires here. They're date coded 2016. So, about 8 years old. That's about the age of the tires that I had on there when I bought it from the other guy. They're about 8 years old. I just took it out, put it through its paces. Everything's fine. I almost took off without that hood bolted back down. It's dirty and everything, but I just had to take it up there to my son's work, let him inspect it so I can get it registered. And then we'll start getting it in ready to go. I got another couple thumbs up today while I'm driving it. Some people make an effort to really catch up to me and thumbs up, and that's a good feeling and everything. I hope whoever gets it enjoys it, but I've had my run with it. I love the car. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. It's my favorite supercar, quote unquote. I mean, it's not a Lambo or nothing, but still, it's considered an exotic. So I hope I get this thing sold quickly and to the right person. There was some concern. I had a concern, like, how do you sell a car like that? I mean, obviously you're not going to let every Tom, Dick, and Harry come over and quote unquote test drive it, get on it, have some fun, and then I don't think so. I'll let you know. I'll talk to the old wife and see what she wants to do, you know. And so I read an article, a couple of them actually. They said, no, you don't have to let them test drive it. They can ride with you, and if they want to test drive it, you buy it. That's how it goes. Pretty much that's how they were saying, cut and simple. Obviously that wouldn't work on some other car, but it is what it is. And so, all right, so just a quick update. What I'm trying to do is I cannot get my mind past, and I don't want to proceed doing anything else until I get this AC problem fixed. And so just so you know, what's happening is I've got the fuse block up and out. This is the AC relay, okay? And it goes in these pins right here. And so the problem I'm having is when I turn on the ignition, okay, without calling the AC on, this compressor clutch will pull down. It engages. That's okay if I've actually got the AC on, okay, and the AC works like it should and all that good stuff. But when I turn the AC off, as long as I have that key on, like let's just say I'm idling it or something like that, the compressor hub stays engaged. This thing, it's blown the safety valve on it several times before. So on these Saturns, it's got this one wire that plugs into here. It's just one green wire. Now this green wire, I've actually got the right wiring schematics for it. It's not the same as my 95. And the reason I say that is because I got a 95 field service manual. Now on this is the fuse block. It's flipped upside down. It's got the opening here. These three blocks here, that green wire, try to get this to where it doesn't wash it out. That green wire right there, that's the one that sends the signal over to the compressor. So it goes from here, runs over, up underneath here, and goes to the compressor. I checked it for continuity and all that stuff. This isn't my problem on this side. What I'm gonna do now is I've got it connected to ground here. This is my lead, and I've got a little pin on here, and I'm gonna set the voltage meter, and we're gonna watch that, and I'll show you what I'm finding. So right now, like if I take this relay out and I check each one of these for voltage, here's the white one that should be 12 volt hot at all times. I'm gonna stick it in there, and we got 13.4. okay, these other ones This one is supposed to be switched ignition. And then here is the one that gets power once you put the relay on it. It's got a little bit, and then I go to the final one, and it's got that as well. So now I'm going to switch on ignition. Okay, now I'm going to check it this way again. Once again, I'm going to poke the white. There's 12 there like it was before. Now this one should have voltage, and it does. These two should not. See? Now, if you'll listen, watch. I'm going to put this relay in and listen. You hear that? So what's happening is the pin here, the fourth one, so you got one for constant 12, switch 12, the one right next to it, if I touch it, I'm getting voltage. And if I were to plug that wire into that compressor right there, it would, the thing, watch. Let me go ahead and show you. Watch that. See it? So, something is grounding it. So, I don't know if it's the PCM or if there's something from here all the way through there that's grounding somewhere. But I've got to find that. This is the actual wiring schematic for it. I printed it off, blew them up, taped them together so I could read it because I'm half blind. So this is the AC relay right here. So what happens is there's 4 pins right on that relay. One comes in, it's hot at all times, and I've verified that. It's that one right there I've got marked with the white paint because I was trying to figure something out earlier. Then the other one is switched 12 volts, okay? And so when you have the key turned on, it energizes the inside passenger junction block, and it sends power then through this brown wire over to the underhood junction block. That's the inside passenger one. This is the underhood one. And it goes to that pin on that relay, and I verified that. I've got just under that one I just showed you with the white mark. It gets voltage when I have the key on. So that's all good. If here's that green wire. You see it goes from this relay, goes over to the AC compressor. Okay, so that's that green wire right there. So the one I think I have an issue with is this gray wire, which goes all the way over here and goes to the PCM. So I've got the PCM down and out. I just got to figure out which one of these wires is the one, the gray, because there's plenty of gray in here. And then I'm going to disconnect that connector and then see if I still have power going to it. Because if I do, then it means this PCM is bad. If I don't, then I've got a ground fault somewhere in between on this gray wire in between here and the underhood junction block. At least that's my understanding. That's where I need to go. So, come to find out that it was the PCM that was bad. It was sending the signal for the AC to come on. And I'm just talking kind of loud so you can hear me. So I've got this scan tool here. It's a pretty good scan tool. I'll try to put in the description which one it is. It actually communicates with the Saturns pretty well and gives a lot of live data and a lot of special functions and stuff like that. I have a Tech 2, the original Tech 2 scan tool that I'm going to try to relearn the crank with now that I've swapped over this PCM. But for those that don't know, if you want to have no rev limit, no speed limit, then swap out your factory ECU with same year, dual overhead cam obviously, but make it an automatic PCM. You'll get codes though, but if you got a 97, 98, in most states it don't matter anymore. If the check engine light's on, it's going to be on for this application anyway. So, and then you get to remove your speed limits and rev limits. And for us, for the Det 3, that's good because now I don't have to program in rev limit, speed limit, that sort of thing. So, or, you know, the cuts. So right now, the only codes I got is the EGR sensor flow, circuit low voltage, which we know why that is. I don't have an EGR valve. Trans range switch circuit high and trans sensor high voltage, circuit high voltage. Obviously, because I have an automatic PCM computer looking for a signal that's not there because it's a manual transmission car. So I just checked the AC system and it's fine. It's not getting voltage anymore with key on. So the wire that goes over to the clutch coil isn't getting any power. So that's good, problem solved. So it was a problem with the ECM, and also on this one, at least as of yet, I just started this thing, so who knows what other codes are gonna populate when I actually drive it. But there was a quad code in here, and I suspect possibly that might have been the fault that was causing the AC to come on, I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so it looks like the AC problem's fixed. I've got the auto PCM in. I'm gonna try to learn the crank and then go from there. And just for proof, as you know, once it gets to 4,000 RPMs, it would sit there and go womp, 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 womp. Watch. There you go. And just so you guys know, and I don't want to tell you to do something that it looks like there's a problem. Now there's a total of 5 codes, and it's all dealing with transmission faults, turbine input speed low, transmission control system low voltage. So yeah, you're going to have those. That's just what's going to happen. But there's no quad driver fault in here anymore, anything like that. All right, so that problem's out of the way. Again, just for clarification, you can use an automatic PCM with your manual transmission equipped car, and it'll remove your speed limits and it'll remove your rev limit. Okay, so obviously I'm telling you this bit of information, but don't be an idiot. Don't do that and then go out there and hit 130, 140 on your 95 rated tires. Okay, so that's, you know, obviously things can happen at high speeds. So, you know, it's totally up to you if you do this modification, but you need to know that there could be some safety issues behind it. And so I'm warning you, that's on you. So, but my goal is obviously for drag racing applications, stuff like that. So, I need that removal of that rev limit so that on my 2-step or my launch control, whatever you want to call it, where you're building boost at a dead stop, I need that to be able to control that and have that ability to program into it so I can use it to launch. The speed limit goes without saying. This thing's got a lot more in it. The boost comes on, I'd say between 3,500 thereabouts. And so I've got 3,500 to $7,000 that I need to be able to take advantage of in all gears. And this thing, now that it has the single overhead cam transmission in it, it has longer gears, so I can stay in those gears longer without reaching red line. So, but anyway, and also a quick note, if you're boosting aftermarket, you have to be careful. Try not to boost longer than 20 seconds, something like that. But anyway, that's hard on the engine, temperatures and all that good stuff. And that's what's taken so long for me moving forward, because I still got these other little nuisancey things to do. I did get this rewrapped from a guy, JT Automotive, John Tran. He's up on the north side of Houston. He wrapped this whole thing for me. I don't think I'm going to have a problem here forward with it. We'll see. But he did some inlays inside and stuff like that. And so hopefully this is the last time I'll have to mess with that. Got me my personal plates. I'm sure you can figure it out. All right, and on here, I've got to address the horn. When I did that steering wheel modification, horn stays on all the time. I got to figure that out. I messed with the radio adjustments back there. I got to play with those and check for boost leaks. There was some wiring under the car. I dealt with that. Working with the AC wire right now. My angle of my seats right now is about 12 degrees. I feel almost like I'm sitting flat on the ground. So I'm going to angle them up a little bit. I'm going to weld a couple tabs on the front of the seats to get them up about an inch. And I'm going to see what kind of angle. It should give me a decent angle change, make me feel more, it just feels weird. It feels like if I hit the brakes hard enough, I'll slide all forward. I'm going to change out AC hoses. Those things are every bit of 1997. And then, of course, the Det3. All right, I got to get the 550cc injectors. I'm going to buy some race gas, do the rear disc conversion, and then get the moon roof dealt with. I was playing with the idea of, on the intercooler, trying to maybe go a little bit, not as tall, but then go wider. Because I've got plenty of room from the opening of the front bumper. It's got quite a bit of opening on there to where I could pretty much utilize all that air rushing through there. The residence time of the air going through there, if it's longer, would cool it down a little bit better, which I'm not having any issues with that. I mean, I'm very happy with the way the air intake temps are on a hot day after been blowing the heck out of this thing. So, but yeah, we'll see. And then, like I said, get this AC wiring thing done. I'll leave the PCM down like that, like it's hanging in there, because I'll need to have that to put the Det3 on there to wire it in finally. When that happens, obviously, like I have on the note over there on the board, I've got to change out the injectors to 550cc. And then hopefully that system works. I hope it does. Because, man, guys, just to explain it a little bit, I'm fighting full standalone engine management because I'm just hard-headed. That's all it is. I mean, I could put it on. I've done that before. I've said that before. I've done it before. And it was at a time when I didn't have the kind of mind over this stuff like I do now. So I'd go easier. I understand what I'm doing. I understand that stuff. And I would pick a system that could be tuned, remotely. You know how they'll tune it, send it back to you, download it, drive it, send it back. They tune it, drive it, send it back, so forth. And that you can get it pretty close doing that until you get on a dyno, so you don't have to spend as much time on a dyno. But I really do. I want to make it as simple as possible. I also don't want to fit or spend however much they are, $1,500, $1,700. I can afford it, yes, I can, but I don't want to. I don't want to have to go that route if I can get by with this $400 unit, which has all the things that I would look for in a full standalone. Rev limit, speed limit, two-step, all that stuff. This system has it. It's just the bastard Saturn element that's there. This is the same ignition system that they have on the Ecotech, the 7X reference. It's the same ignition system, but as much as I search for anybody that might have put an ECU Masters Det3 on a 2.2, 2.4, whatever, the Ecotech, engine, nobody. I guess the cobalts and all this stuff, I don't know. So, but the only thing my confidence level in what they told me when I emailed them, initially they wanted me to just go ahead and buy one of their ECU blacks, they're full standalones. And I said, well, surely this will work on, my car. And they said, well, I'm going to get with the engineers because the ignition system, and I did their work for them. I sent them a graphic of it and, the 7X reference with the crank sensor and all this stuff. And they emailed me back and he said, I've spoken with my engineers and you'll use this ignition system setting. in the software, and it should work. Should work. So I'm going to take the time to wire that thing in to my ECU on off of a we think it'll work deal. So I'm committing to you guys now. And look, hey, the thing is too, I want to do this so that for all you other guys out there that don't want to mess with full standalone, that don't want to mess with the problematic, what is it, the Mega Squirt, those full ones that you can't ever seem to really get right good enough. I want this to be a viable option for my fellow Satty peeps. Okay, so if I can do it and be the guinea pig on it, I don't mind. I just, man, I'm getting kind of burnt out. I just want to be able to put something on here, put those injectors on it, run 20 pounds, and I'm done. That's all I need to do. One other thing too, I thought I had this whole PCV thing straightened out. So this painted valve, this is off of a Mitsubishi Lancer, you know, the turbo ones. And so at idle, the vacuum of the manifold is sucking the vapors from under here into here. And this port here is usually hooked up to your pipe going in. And so at idle, you're having filtered air down here come up into the engine, and that same filtered air is going in here, back up here through the PCV into the intake, and of course the air is going in through here, or it's pulling out there. It'd be stronger this way. But with a rear mount turbo system, I just read in the STS manual, I don't know why I was looking at this, just happened to notice it, but for mass airflow systems, which ours is not, this is a map. It's fairly simplistic. You just got to make sure that the PCV is enough to hold boost from going into here. And then here, you just put a filter on it. That's it. But in the past, I've had issues where like some of that blow-by is kind of seeping up and it looks like you got a problem with your car. It's, you know. So I ran it over to this catch. But on this port, I had this is the inlet to here. And on this side, I had it running the full length back to the car into the intake tube. Because if I put it over here, this sees boost and it's going to boost back that way. So I was depending on the vacuum that's being put on the filter or on the turbo right there as it's sucking into the turbo to draw vapors this way. But I don't think it was working that way because I've got a little bit of pressure bypass or pressure coming up out of the oil cap here. So I removed that line altogether, and instead of having like a PCV filter here, I got it going to the catch where hopefully it'll knock out whatever liquid is there. And then I just ordered a little filter to put on here. So it's going to filter right here. So while I'm doing the PCM swap over, I said, okay, well, I've got to straighten up the steering wheel, which means taking that adapter off that I made. And while I have it off, I'm going to move it to where it'll be straight. I think I show in past videos where driving straight, the wheel's about an eighth off center to the right. So I'll be fixing that. But while I was doing that, I was also trying to fix the horn because the horn would stay engaged. I figured out what was wrong, but as I'm going in there trying to fix it, the wire for this clock spring, one that I was using for the power going through here, just broke right off. And so I need this clock spring because when you're turning the steering wheel, obviously, if you just run wires to your horn, then as you're turning the wheel, they'll get bound up, you know, as you're turning full turns left and right. So you need the clock spring to be able to transfer the power through there while still allowing for contact. And that's what that does. So luckily, I mean, I was going to try to just break this thing apart since I don't really need it to be effective to work. I just need it to supply me the power and ground through it. But I went ahead and ordered another one. I found one on eBay for 26 bucks. So I got it coming. I don't know if it's going to be exactly right or not, but I can at least use it, find out which wires power and ground and go through it and just use it as a fresh start. If not, I'll figure out something with this. Somehow I could open this up and reestablish that wire through there. It was the purple one, that one right there, and it was coming out that leftmost hole that you don't see anything there anymore, and it just walked right out of there. It was being held on just by a little bit of strand there. So, but anyway, so it needed to be done. I got to have me a horn, and so we'll get that fixed, and then we'll move on to the next. I got the AC fixed, so yay! So I think I'll be getting that finished up here. As soon as I get the clock spring in here, I'll figure out something on that. And then after that, I'll have a week off for Christmas break. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get it I might even try to get the Det 3 on at that time. So hopefully by the first of the year, I'll be hooked up to a laptop tuning it. So we'll see.